Hey, it's Friday and it's time for another Lesson 5 devotional. And like I said in last week's devotional video, I hope to continue to get these out to you on a weekly basis. And for those of you who comment and send me messages encouraging me to continue to do these on a weekly basis, I wanted to say thank you. You're speaking life into me and you're speaking life into these devotions. And because of that, today's devotion centers around the idea of speaking life. I went to my kids' chapel yesterday at Victory Christian School, and their theme at VCS is speaking life. And as I sat there and listened to the message and thought about the theme of speaking life, and then I was thinking about these devotions and speaking life, I just knew that that's what I needed to talk about today. And I thought about it in relation to marriages. Now, it might be because Sydney and Reed's anniversary is coming up, and that's an important one for me, and I pray for them and how they're doing throughout the year, and so they're on my mind, but also because Ariel and James, they're getting married tonight, and if I had one piece of advice to them, it would be to speak life into one another, even when they're not around each other, and so that's what I want to talk about, the importance of husbands and wives speaking life about their spouses even when they're not around each other. I was thinking about Jonathan and David. Now, I know that Jonathan and David, they're not married. They're best friends. And that's what a marriage should be. A marriage should be best friends. And Rachel and I, we're best friends, and your spouse should be your best friend. They should be the person that you have the most fun with. They should be the person that you laugh with, the person that you want to do life with, that you just want to hang out with. Your spouse should be your best friend. And so I think about Jonathan and David in terms of being best friends, and how Jonathan and David spoke life into one another, and how it's important to speak life when you're not around each other. It's easy to speak life into one another when you're in each other's presence. It's a lot more difficult to speak life when you're not in each other's presence, especially if there's something going on where you've had a fight or an argument, or something's happened where you've gotten upset or annoyed or anything like that. It's easy to speak speak negative things about your spouse when you're not in their presence. Say you're with your friends or your coworker or even your parents, and you just want to let it all out, your frustrations about your spouse, and you end up speaking negative things about your spouse. And using Jonathan and David as the example, Jonathan stood before his father. He stood before Saul and had a chance to speak negative things about David, but in the end, he spoke life about David. He told Saul how good David was, and how David was without sin, that he didn't sin, and so he was good. And he had a chance to speak negative things about him, but he spoke life. And so that's 1 Samuel chapter 19, verse 4 and 5, I think. And so my encouragement to you today is to speak life to one another, especially when you're not in each other's presence. Speak life. Say positive things about your spouse around other people. Don't say negative things about them, because that doesn't speak life. And if I could give James and Ariel one piece of, I got a visitor today. She's playing hooky. If I could give James and Ariel one piece of advice today, it would be to speak life to one another, even when you're not in each other's presence. Build each other up. We always tell the kids this one scripture: be kind to one another
and build each other up.
And build each other up at all times. God bless you. I love you. I'll see you next week.